Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harpreet Singh, and I'm the manager for Project Management Group at Elit's Technomedia and your host for the day. I welcome you all to our today's highly anticipated fireside chat with the focused theme of transforming banking with business automation. As we all know, information technology is the backbone of all industries and more so for the banking industry. By integrating business automation, the banking sector undergoes a revolutionary transformation, propelling operational efficiency and customer centric solutions. This innovative shifts redefines traditional banking processes, fostering enhanced user experiences and paving the way for agile, technology driven financial services. Through the strategic implementation of automation, the industry evolves to meet the demand of digital age, forging a path towards seamless, efficient, and personalized banking experiences. With this background, join us this virtual discussion and explore how new age digital technologies and solutions are redefining banking industry and solving the challenges like batch processing, application orchestration, compliance and audit, reporting, and disaster recovery and job scheduling and monitoring. Without further ado, I would like to invite and give a warm virtual welcome to our esteemed guest for the day. Our guest speaker for the day is Bhaskar Rao, the Chief Information Security Officer at Bharat Co-op Bank. Bhaskar has several years of IT experience and more than 90 years of experience in banking, specialized in managing multiple teams, delivering projects on time with tight deadlines, data center, and digital channels. And to moderate this discussion, we have Ratish Chandrasekhar, who is the country lead digital business automation at BMC. He is carrying over 12 years of experience in client facing and techno functional roles across multiple domains of service management, automation, and cloud technologies. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today, and we eagerly anticipate the enlightening conversation that is about to unfold. Over to you, Ratish.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Harpreet, for the brief introduction. Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar Rao, for joining us for this conversation. It's indeed pleasure to always speak out with industry stalwarts to understand what pace of transformation is happening, and especially in the cooperative sector. The reason why I asked that, Mr. Bhaskar, is that when you look at the cooperative sector, it's slightly different from the other banks. One on scale, right? We are looking at when you look at rural cooperative banks, I think there are over 90,000 of them, right? And when you actually look at the whole sector at a whole, the close relationship that the clients share with cooperative banks is a little different from other banks. So there's a lot of personal interaction that happens at the cooperative banking sector. So in so which means that in a banking phenomena or in a BFSI sector where close interactions or humane interactions are very important. How do you think digitalization has it overcome, or has it meant that these close interactions with these partners with these end clients have taken a backseat, or how is that you're taking both of them together, the concept of digitalization of cooperative banks, which is which is inevitable, right? So how do you actually balance this process of digitalization of cooperative banks with the close humane relationship that cooperative banks share with end clients? What's your take on that, on the impact of digitalization, Mr. Bhaskar Rao?
Thank you, Harpreet and Ratish. It's a long journey for the cooperative bank actually. See, we belongs to the what you call a third pillar of the entire banking system, the public sector, private sector, and then you talk about cooperative bank. In some way, the other cooperative banks are little behind the technology part of it, because we came lately into the industry. We used to have a personalized services. We used to give the very personalized service to our customers and connected world. But today, what happened, particularly after the COVID, particularly after the COVID, every bank is wanted to give some way the other digital transaction, because the world is changed now. There's a no more people don't want to go to the branches. Now it is the time has come. They are working. They are looking for the banking on the move. Nobody wanted actually. So I think the very first reason the bank started digitalization during last 15 years. I'm into the industry from 18 years, but they have started slowly. Slowly they have started. They were mostly into CBS and all. They were mostly into shared network, into RTGS and NEFT. But after COVID, because the customers were not coming to the branches, they have to survive. And in this connected world, if they don't connect to the customer, they will be nowhere. So that is what they decided, and they started sharing the resources from the third party. So there are many software vendors are available in the industry who are giving software as a service. So all banks started their services, and they started IMPS, they started UPI. And I would say UPI is one of the boon for the entire economy in the country, because see today around 46% of world transaction is happening in India. So even for the cooperative bank, it was necessary to give all these services. So they have started very rapidly, and move very fast. In last, you talk about 4 years, the digitalization completely taken over the cooperative banks, because those days are gone that the customer used to come to the branches, they do the transaction. Those days are gone now. The person who interested in looking loans and all, those people are coming. But transaction, those days are gone now, because everybody want to have a transaction on the move. So this is the entire landscape of the Indian digital arena has changed, and due to this, many fintechs have come up who started helping the cooperative banks. I think fintechs played a very important role in the digitalization of the cooperative banks, because what was happening, the cooperative bank, they didn't have technological advancement. They didn't have people to manage it. These were the very big challenges for these cooperative banks. Then that was the reason these fintechs entered into the arena, and they started giving services. They said, okay, we are there to give a technical know-how. We are there to give a transactional process, what is required as per the RBI regulation, RBI compliances, and you take care of the business portion of it. We will take care of the technological portion of it. That was the joint effort between the fintechs and the cooperative banks, which actually move forward. And today you see almost all cooperative banks are having all sort of technical digital channels. Every digital, you talk about mobile banking, you talk about UPI, you talk about RTJ, NEFT, e-commerce, everything they are giving it. So today we are not lagging behind, and we are giving all sort of transaction to the customer. Yeah.
Fantastic, Mr. Bhaskar, for that perspective. I think that probably when you start off and you said that that we were the third pillar, it's catching up. But then I think COVID equalized these sectors. The transformation has almost become complete, and now the capabilities of digital capabilities that cooperative banks have, I think, match with that of any other bank that actually comes into perspective. The other thing, what I wanted to also check and from you is that that we've heard you talked about account opening. People don't want to come to the banks. They want to. Earlier, they were forced not to come to banks because of the COVID thing. Completely understand, but then probably it became the norm that when you transformed the way in which you interface with your clients, they probably clients like us started getting used to it, that at the comfort of our homes or somewhere nearby. I remember one of the banks actually started a robot, right? So you go into it was there in one in a shop or a mall, and you go inside the mall and you speak to the robo, and then the robo opens up, and the fintech revolution that actually came and ensured those APIs for your KYC and all of those things that actually came into picture, and you had your account opened in matter of minutes without even knowing how the bank looks like or how the branch looks like and stuff like that. So I think that's fantastic to clearly understand that that the transformation initiatives of cooperative banks are also matching with that of the other banks, the other nationalized banks and other private banks at scale in India. Yet another thing that actually came, with respect to digitalization is that When we see, we've heard of cyber attacks. I will not bring. So they're all there in the headlines. There were some of the cooperative banks in 2020s who got impacted by cyber attacks and stuff. But my question is more, in terms to understand that while, resilience in terms of cyber attacks, bringing in security is of great concern, and you being a CISO, for you, right on top of your priority, managing risks is important, right? As to, how can I manage and how can I block any kind of security loophole. But I want to take it for a bit of a spin. How does automation, what kind of automation initiative specifically has actually been, been invested on with respect to, cooperative banks? While we understand, that if you do not invest in security, there is a chance of, you being, attacked. So, people start investing in managing risks by ensuring those security loopholes are taken care. But then automation is not seen, at least it's not physically felt that, that, things have, if you do not automate, then, probably, you're not going to get benefits and stuff. So it's a very behind the screen kind of thing. So how much of automation initiatives in your bank specifically you have done, and, what kind of initiatives do you think the entire cooperative sector is taken?
Uh, See, as far as my bank is concerned, we are one of the large cooperative bank, one of the large in the top five cooperative bank it is. And we have all sort of security layers. We have taken care of it. And one of the highest security layers, what we talk about, is a micro segmentation that we have done. We have all sort of layers basically, and we have completely rule-based, need-based access we have given. We have a DLP, we have a need-based access, we have internet to proxies, all unwanted IP URLs are completely blocked at the gateway level. We have internal firewalls, external firewalls, and then we have all sort of things you do call about NCM, which is implemented. Then we have a DLP, which is implemented. So many other layers are already there. As I said, micro-segmentation is implemented, which is, I think, we are the only bank in the cooperative who have done micro-segmentation as of now. And, so many layers are there. Being a large bank, it is easy for us to maybe financially, or you talk about technically, I have a people who can manage it. Certain things like we have outsourced to the third party, but most of them is managed within the premises. We have our own team, a security team. We have a very good IT team. We have so most of the things are managed in-house. But when you come about a security arena and you see the cooperative banks, some way or the other, they are lagging behind. See, I'll tell you why. Being a large cooperative bank, I can do all those things. But when you just come down to 15, 20 bank from the top layer, then you see the innovation in the cooperative sector and the security layers in the cooperative sector. When you see that, that is a really worrying factor. That is really a worrying factor for the cooperative industry, because some way or the other, one of the major portion is that the understanding of security is one of the major portion, because what to put, what not to put, that is one area. Second thing is that you need a people who can actually manage. So that is definitely we are lagging behind. The cooperative sector is definitely lagging behind, because the kind of salary what private sector and public sector gives, that is not possible in the cooperative bank. So that is one area definitely is lagging behind. We don't get technically trained people in the cooperative bank. Barring few banks you talked about, as I said, if you come down, there are 1,450 banks. How many banks are having such layers? That is one of the major issues. So definitely the matter of concern for the cooperative.
So, Mr. Bhaskar Rao, so if I would say, that know that because of the size and scale of some of these banks, uh, does it make them more relevant to automation, or does it make them less relevant to automation? I know that you cannot pay as much as the private sector. That's one of the defining factors. But then, when you look at automation, does scale prevent, or does scale ensure that more automation comes into picture? What's your take?
Yeah, I'll tell you, automation is the must. It is the need of the hour. and nobody can escape from it. It is need of the hour. For every bank, small bank, big bank, it has to be there. If you want to remain in the industry, it has to be there. Otherwise, there's no point in doing banking in the present scenario. It has to be there. But how to protect that is the bank has to decide whether you can do it or you can't do it. That you have to decide. Because the security is one area. If everybody earlier it used to be like people used to attack the big banks. Right now, the scenario changed. Now, some with the other, these people know these cooperative banks are having little less security layers. So it is easy for them to attack. If they get some 1 crore, 2 crore, nothing wrong in that. Why they instead of going to big bank and spending so much time, they rather they'll try to work on the small banks, and that is easy. So in that scenario, you have to look into that. Which are the things we have to do? Whether you can do it, you can't do it. That the bank has to decide. If you can do it, please go ahead and put all the layers, implement, monitor, and execute it. Because only execution is not a required. You have to monitor also. Implementation can be done, but who will monitor? It has to be monitored on a daily basis. That is one of the most important areas. Second thing I said, if you can't do it, please outsource it, give it to third party who can actually manage very well. See, it's a plain answer I'll give you. If you can do it, please do it. If you can't do it, ignore it, give it to third party, let them manage it, and you do the business portion. That's a very clear funda. See, I'll tell you one thing. Suppose if some of the banks they are having a profit of around 5 crore, and a hacker intruded into system and he hacked around 5 crore rupees, then what will happen? Complete your profit is gone. So better you outsource it, give it to third party, let the technical experts manage the entire show, and you manage the business. I think that should be the area. If you can manage it, you can manage it. Otherwise, you outsource it to third party. There are many people available. That is my take on this. And normally, I advise also the same way.
Perfect, Mr. Bhaskar Rao. That is pleasure to hear in terms that know that there is no escape from automation or security. So either you do it or you outsource it. I think so. Scale, whatever be your scale, it really does not matter. You will have to do it either by yourself or you better get the experts to do it for you. Mr. Bhaskar, coming on to the other point of discussion, initially when we were speaking, the pre-COVID days and stuff, and digital transformation was rather slow, chugging along and stuff. Even during those days, there was automation of UPI systems, your NEFT transfers, your core banking systems and stuff like that. So this all, and with the advent of automation coming in and digital transformation coming in banks, the methods, omni channels have opened up, right? So many methods in which customers like us interact with banks. So such interactions necessitates the presence of huge backend systems, and these backend systems have to interact with each other, right? So which means your core banking system might probably have to interact with your AML systems to loan management systems, or your Oracle systems, and the all the financial systems that come into picture. So and probably even data warehouse for you to generate those reports. So number of systems, when number of applications start to interact with each other, how does something like your bank and from the perspective of overall banking, this back end orchestration, right? So which is not visible to the end customer like me, but but that if those systems do not interact with each other, then probably my payments don't get settled, my my AML records don't get updated, my credit statements don't come in at the right point, right time. My batch windows don't get settled. So all of these things, these critical processes like payment settlement, or end of day operations, or AML operations that come into picture necessitates the presence of backend automation, right? Different applications behind the scene have to interact with each other, though not visible to the end customer like us. It's very very important for people who actually manage those systems, because if those systems don't get managed properly, then the entire front end systems actually collapse. So with respect to back end automation, right, of application actually getting orchestrated, applications speaking with each other, what kind of transformation has your bank, Bharat Cooperative Bank, particularly made? And if you can also speak broadly, because you will be part of many of these forums where kind of transformation initiatives that has been taken over. So broadly, how does cooperative banks approach back-end automation, back-end application automation, especially in the light of so many omni-channels come into picture, right? No more all going to the bank and doing, there was a statistic which says the number of transactions, like you said, UPI transactions, actually is more than your transactions on demand drafts, your transactions on NEFT, plus Swift. All of those systems put together today, UPI transactions have exceeded. And to manage this much transactions behind the scenes, applications have, there has to be settlement, there has to be check truncation, there has to be all in EOD automation has to come into picture, your data warehouse has to be automated, all of these things, all your financial systems behind the scene also has to be automated to actually hold on to such omni channels. So how is cooperative bank how has cooperative bank sector in general, how has it handled this explosion of applications that has happened, especially in the last few years?
I'll tell you that in the cooperative banking, I think 2002 onward, they have started migrating to core banking solution. Earlier, it was not this, but like branch banking and all. And Bharat Bank has been one of the first bank who's to start the core banking solution. And see, as far as the cooperative banking is concerned, they do have all sort of, earlier also they had. They started in a phase manner. First, you go with the CBS, then you go with the clearing option, then you go with the anti-money laundering. Like that, they have started in a phased manner. It's not only COVID has helped us. Before that, also all the cooperative banks, almost all big cooperative banks or medium cooperative banks, they had all sort of solution. You talk about clearing related, you talk about ATM related, you talk about anti-money laundering, all sort of things they used to give. Only thing is that the COVID boosted their digital transaction. When we talk about digital transaction and the earlier transaction, only difference was this is used through using a device. Device-based transaction increased during the COVID. After the COVID, earlier also we used to have RTGS, NEFT, then anti-money laundering system. That this is there. From the beginning, these many cooperative banks are already having actually. They used to have it's not a data warehouse, but they used to have a database wherein they can park it, they can pull the data and they can create a report and they can create alerts and all. These systems used to have. And almost all big and medium cooperative banks used to have a back office kind of scenario. Technical, like data center, they'll have IT department. Then they have a back office which used to handle all the back end level transaction and all the alert system and all those things they used to manage. Mostly all cooperative banks had earlier. So that's not that only COVID. COVID helped them in doing a device-based transaction, due to which the customer started not coming to the branches. But earlier also it used to have, and I'm witness to that. Actually, the entire arena I'm witness because I joined the cooperative industry in 2004. And since then and even today, I've seen the entire operation, how the clearing used to be, how the file used to go to RBI, how it is posted, how ECS are posted. These all things are there. But now today, you see digital transaction taken so much, the clearing had come down drastically. The days are not far away that the manual transaction will come down to very lowest point. You talk about ECS, you talk about NACH, these all have come after COVID. But earlier also it used to have, but in a different scenario altogether. So it's not that only COVID helped. And earlier also these banks used to have. Only difference they used to have, the earlier the small banks used to share the resources from the other parties. Even for the CBS also. They used to keep their data center. They used to share the data center with somebody. They used to share the DR site with somebody, service provider, and they used to have all sort of things. So it's not that they are so much, but definitely it was there. And only thing is that COVID helped them in boosting because they didn't have other options to do all these things, all the digital based transaction. That was the scenario.
Right, Mr. Bhaskar. So, going forward with respect to, once automation comes
Just
into.
add one point to this.
Mhm.
The cooperative banks are one of the last pillars who actually used to give to the needy people in the industry. You see, they are the people, the cooperative banking sector is one such sector. They used to go to the last person in the economy to help them. You will not find the private sector bank, you will not find the public sector bank, but definitely you see cooperative bank, they help the needy people in the industry. And that is actually we should thank the cooperative bank for the entire situation they handled. And many people in the arena has done, many banks they have done it. It was really amazing journey for the cooperative bank. Today it is a different scenario, but the way they handled the last person, the economically backward person you talk about, the needy person you talk about, but this is cooperative bank who had come first, rather than private or public sector you talk about.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Bhaskar. I think technology with human touch uh, really, personifies the entire cooperative sector. One thing is about banking with the entire cooperative sector movement itself phenomenal when you actually look at India as a country, right? Um, uh, when with lot of people actually coming and interfacing with cooperative sector, a lot of data today is available, Mr. Bhaskar. How does actually in because when we look so when we look at data, there was one report which actually said only about 20% of data is usable. The rest 80% is, I wouldn't say noise, but we still have not found a method to actually utilize or extract the best value of the rest of 80%. So which means that we are always in a perennial chase, right? That find out which data is actually useful to us so that we can service our customer better. We can reach out to more customers to provide specific kind of loans or specific kind of returns, specific kind of engagement, specific interest rates. It could be anything that you look at, right? So today decision making is actually being driven by what we call data driven decisions, right? So data, when you actually look at most of the data is actually when you look at the four layer now transition, you have a core banking layer at bottom, which actually gives a lot of information to the to the ETL layer. And once ETL layer, you have a data warehouse layer which actually crunches all this data and gives you meaningful reports. That these are things that needs to be taken care. Maybe the reports go to the RBI, it goes for your internal consumption, but data has to flow, data has to be automated to this entire trail right from your core banking system in banks to your data warehouse systems. Now, how much of automation is actually being involved to actually extract this data faster, right? Because if you don't get that data today, maybe your competitive bank has actually had that data, because it's all about how fast can you actually get this data so that you can put to use faster. So in the data, in the data chain, the data movement chain, with respect to both visibility as to how fast it comes in, if there is failure in data leakage that comes into picture, how has automation helped you to analyze better data, if I would say? How has automation helped you to obtain data that can be put to use? In short, how automation has helped you to monetize data? Is that something that you can actually throw light on? How did it change? Because you've been here from almost 2004. So initially, how you view data, and how automation has actually ensured that you make better data driven decisions. Is that something that you can throw light on, Mr. Bhaskar?
This is one area definitely I would say the banks are lagging behind. Definitely I would say, because the way the private banks are using their data, definitely cooperative banks are not using. Because even today you talk about we are doing a traditional kind of banking, although it's a connected world, but the data analytic is not available in many banks you talk about. That's very frankly, I would say straight away. Many banks you talk about, the data analytic is not available, and people are not using at present. Maybe barring few banks might be using. Barring that, data analytic is not available in the cooperative bank. Even today we are doing the same thing. We have used data we have, but some way the other we are not using. And the analytic is the most important part of modern day banking, which is even private banks, they are doing it. But that one particular area, I think we are definitely lagging behind.
All right. Is there any specific initiatives that you will, sir? I know that you have very bad throat, but thank you for, for accommodating this. I just
I'm
want to
really
keep short.
sorry for this.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it short. I completely understand. But is there any specific initiatives that I know that some of them you may not be openly be able to discuss, but then in a specific initiative that you're looking at in getting more value from data? Is there
See,
specific?
I always say that there's an analytic intelligence is must for the cooperative bank because the use data you have, which must be put to the use actually. Because that particular area, which is definitely not there in the cooperative bank. And see, I'll give a simple one simple reason. I have done some transaction and I personally am telling I've done one transaction and a private bank knows that this is not my area. So immediately they call me whether you have done this transaction. I said, yes, I have done it. Then they executed transaction. Such kind of thing is not available in the cooperative bank. Very frankly, it is not available. And I don't know, but personally, as far as my knowledge is, hardly any bank is doing. So that kind of things are required. Analytic is more important because the customer you have, what is his area of interest, what he is doing, what is required, and based on his salary, based on his regular income, whether he require loan, what kind of deposit he is having, whether he is having a he is having a locker, he is having a gold loan or not. These things are there, which is required, a basic requirement, a basic analytic is required for the cooperative bank. Definitely, I think, I don't know. Personally, I would say I'm not aware of which bank is doing, but definitely I would say this is we are lagging behind in this. Cooperative
Absolutely.
banks you talk about, or fintechs you talk about, or like private NBFCs you talk, they are very aggressive on that. You see, every now and then they keep on calling. They know, suppose you see in civil reporting, they come to know everything, who is having how much civil scoring. And based on that, they keep on calling people. Suppose today I have gone to any mall and I went to one of the one of the area like Shoppers Stop. They know that I'm going to spend here, and they keep on calling whether you want to buy this, you want to buy that, because they are aware of it where I've been because they track everything. Very frankly, in the modern connected world, you have been tracked by everybody. You see Google, it tracks wherever you have gone, whether you are in Mumbai, you are in Goa, you are in Bangalore. It keep on tracking. In your Google, you see everything. So everything in the connected world is being tracked. And when you tracking, they come to know your area of interest, what you require. And accordingly, they design a product and come to the market, then they will sell. They'll start talking to you whether you are interested in this, whether you are interested in that. They keep on talking. So such kind of thing is definitely needed for the modern bank, which is definitely I would say that we are lagging behind in such areas.
Absolutely, Mr. Bhaskar. Probably next time when we have a conversation, we would have seen your movement because you have marked that probably analytics as something that you really want to pursue. As something that's very important, not only for Bharat Cooperative Bank but for all cooperative banks in general. Coming to the last section of our discussion, you mentioned that that scale does not matter. Either you do it or you have somebody else do it, be it automation, be it security, be it digital transformation, right? So digital transformation, either you have to do it or you'll have to make somebody else to do it, but there's no escape from it. In such a connected world, when there is so much, so little to choose between banks, right? So why do I need to open an account in X bank and not Y bank? The difference is very minimal, right? So many times, I'm not able to decide how do I why should I be going to this bank to open an account rather than this bank, because the difference in service that most of the banks today are providing are almost similar. You have a mobile bank, you have a mobile app to see all your details. The transactions are as fast. There is nothing like you do an an IMPS transaction in one bank, it takes 24 hours. The other bank does 10 hours. Nothing like that, right? So it's every bank. The scale at which they provide services are almost similar. So, as a this is more from a veteran in this industry rather than a CISO. Is that you've been there for so long. How has technology, or is technology helping banks to compete with each other to provide customers better service, or has technology, ensured that that there is better delivery of service between competing banks? What is the role in general technology has played between banks offering better services to end customers?
The technology definitely plays a major role because until unless you adopt technology, you'll be nowhere in the industry. That is why the banks have taken, definitely they have taken all sort of the channels whichever is available in the industry. They have gone through that. Technology plays one of the major roles. When you said one word, why should I go with the X bank? Why should I go with the Y bank? I would say cooperative banks gives more personalized service with the technological advancement. That one thing I would definitely say, that thing you will not get in private or other banks. Say this is definitely, I'm proudly I can say the cooperative banks give a personalized service with technological advancement. That is the only word I can say, nothing more than that.
Understood. So it's more of lack of technology that actually helps us, to choose which bank, because it's that personalized touch that actually must make us choose. But thank you so much, Mr. Bhaskar Rao. It's been pleasure speaking. I know you have a bad throat, but in spite of that, you came along. Thank you so much for spending some time with us to understand the overall perspectives of cooperative banking. And one thing that you actually said will always resonate with me, that either you transform or bring somebody else to transform your organization, but you cannot escape it. Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar Rao, and I will hand over to Harpreet, for concluding this discussion.
Thank you, Ratish. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, I really apologize for today's really. It's a bad throat.
I can only say thank you so much, sir. It's very difficult, when you're in the speaking conversation, speaking role, the throat, is the most important thing. And in spite of a bad throat, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you. Harpreet?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, gentlemen, for this wonderful and insightful discussion. And I would definitely say it was like such a discussion where I learned a lot of things. I would definitely tell you what I have learned. But thank you, Bhaskar and Ratish, for taking out time from your busy schedule for this discussion and for sharing your invaluable insights during the fireside chat. I'm sure your expertise and perspectives have enriched our understanding of transforming banking with business automation. And just to summarize for our audience, what we have gained from today's session is impact of digitization in banking industry, cyber attacks and its impact in 2022 majorly using AI-based model, the scale of automation, orchestrated banking applications, how automation helped banks in making better data-driven decisions, and how technology is playing a crucial role in delivering better services to end consumers. I'm sure our audience will look forward to applying these learnings to drive innovation in the industry. Gentlemen, I would request you both to please stay with us for a while, as we would like to present the token of appreciation towards your participation in this insightful discussion. And now, I would request my tech team to kindly present the token of appreciation for Bhaskar Rao. Thank you very much, Bhaskar Rao, for joining us in this insightful discussion. And we truly appreciate this. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much. And I apologize for the bad throat. Actually.
That's completely fine. That's completely fine, sir. But we truly appreciate this, and we look forward to like having you on board in our upcoming discussions.
Thank you.
And now I would request to present the token of appreciation for Ratish Chandrasekhar. Thank you very much, Ratish. We truly appreciate you come on board with us and for this insightful discussion. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, Harpreet. Thank you.
Thank you once again, gentlemen, for joining us today. And thanks to our viewers for watching this insightful discussion. And we promise you that we keep bringing more insightful discussions like this. Stay tuned with us. This was Harpreet Singh, and I'm signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. and advanced revolutions to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Same wishes for you guys.